Hey, church. Pastor Shane here, and I am sitting here with Miss Tatum Bailey and Ms. Nicole Rennie. They're both members of our worship team, have been for a long time at this point. And so this is part of our interviews for helping you to get to know the team a little bit better. So I'm just going to jump straight to it. Both of you have received these questions in advance. And by the way, Nicole provided coffee for us from their little coffee shop in the pharmacy called the coffee shop. It's called The Script. It's at Rennie Pharmacy in Licking. There you go. She did not pay me to say that. It's just really good coffee. So, share a little bit about your testimony. I don't care who goes first. You guys can paper, rock, scissor that thing.
I play a mean game. No, I'm kidding.
Just how did you come to Christ? You know, what are some of the things that he transformed, and what is he currently teaching you?
I was saved when I was 8 at Vacation Bible School. So I've kind of been in church all my life. Mm-hmm. Probably, and definitely walked with them for sure. Have had ups and downs, of course. Currently, what is he doing? Currently, I'm in a hard season with business. So he is testing me with that. Like I guess I'm being tested with that. To trust him more. Just trying to work through that.
Mm-hmm. And how many kids do you guys have?
We have 3.
3 kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I knew that, but I didn't know if they knew that.
Yeah.
So, 3 kids, and they're all, at least, your youngest is in high school, right?
She's a junior, yes.
Junior. All right.
I have a grandbaby on the way. So.
I thought you were going to say I have a baby on the way.
Grandbaby.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, Tatum, what about you?
Yes. I was saved as a young girl. I've been raised in church. And at 16, my parents were divorced. So at that point, I really had a lot of hurt to deal with. So I just chose to seek the world and what it had to offer. And it, of course, did not have anything to offer me. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I met my husband and we were married that we both knew that our lives were not glorifying God by no means. So we decided to get plugged back into church, and here we are.
And how long has that been?
Oh, gosh, since, we were married in 2008. So right around that time, I would say. Okay.
And Nicole, you, I don't remember the year you started serving on the worship team. It's, 2016?
Probably.
2015, somewhere in there?
We've been in business for 10 years, so we've been in Licking area for 10 years, so I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you guys started coming to New Harmony shortly after.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Tatum, you've been here since I've been here.
Yeah, I actually started going to New Harmony before the church burnt.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, I was, I think, 5th grade.
And the church burned in 1998. So, or 1999.
I'm not sure.
I think it's 98. Yeah.
But,
yeah, I was living in Colorado. That was my first year in Colorado.
Awesome.
That year when the church burned. So, anyways, yeah, that's the year rating, and I got married. So,
good year.
It was a good year for us. Maybe not for the church. I just answered one of our questions here. So, you've been on the team since
probably 2009.
Okay. And like 2015 and 16-ish for you. Tell me a little bit about that journey of how you ended up on, not maybe bigger than just being on the worship team, but what led you into like loving to lead with your voice.
Well, I have sang since I was a little girl. Mm-hmm. I would get up, me and my 2 sisters in church when we did specials, and we would sing. My parents sang, my grandparents sang. Like, it's just been, music and singing has just been something that's always been in my life. So I started to sing as a little girl. I was really the only sister that was interested in really singing. my sisters, they sang a little bit, but they weren't like, it just wasn't a passion for them, I guess. So I just sang. I would go, sometimes my parents, they were in a gospel singing group, and I would go with them, and sometimes I would lead some songs. And then I did worship in youth here. And then, you know, when I kind of stepped away from going to church, when I was, you know, just living my own life, I stopped singing for years until we started coming back to New Harmony. And it wasn't long after I started coming back that I joined the team.
I didn't discover this until probably several years after I moved here, but you've actually recorded an album.
Yes, I did. I think his name was Kevin Spencer. I think he was with Daywin or something.
Daywin,
yeah. He sang at our church for some reason, and I sang a special here, and he asked if I would come to Nashville and record a CD, but I had to sing his songs, so they weren't anything that I was like super interested in. And it was really, really hard being 13.
13?
Yeah, and I had to record 8 songs
Wow.
in one whole day. And that was really, really hard.
I'm surprised you don't have a Netflix special about how this ruined you, because that's really popular right now.
Well, I did stop singing shortly after that. It just felt like too much. It's like, if this is what it's going to be like, I don't want to do it.
Well, I've only had the experience, and nobody from Nashville asked me to do anything. We just decided one time at our old church we're going to record one and see what it's like. So the whole process of recording a CD is grueling.
It is.
It's just really grueling, and I don't. You've done it too?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Well, you're going to have
Not
to
a solo album, but
okay, but like my experience, like with a group.
More with a group. Yeah.
And it's just grueling, and I lost all interest in doing them after one. Just after one.
Lots of tears.
And you know what? I cried a lot. But and I mean, not. I guess if professionals were doing it, it would have been a little bit of a different experience. But trying to do it yourself, and just with a few guys from around town who kind of know what not that they didn't know what they were doing, but they own the equipment, they have the ability to do it. It was very frustrating to me. But anyways, Nicole, what about you?
I've been in worship since I'm like her. I started early as a kid singing specials at church, and then joined a worship team in the church I was a part of when I was 16. And so I've been in worship ever since. So we moved here from the Springfield area. So I'm 48 years old, so I've been in it since.
We are the same age.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I didn't put this in the lineup of questions, but since you were not raised in this area.
Correct.
You were from the Springfield area.
I'm from Nixa.
Okay, yep. Nixa. All right. Yep. All right. Then you're a hometown girl.
Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised.
All right. There we go. So, tell me this: what is worship? Why is it important to you?
Well, I mean, it's been a part of my life, my whole life. So I can't imagine a time where I didn't have some type of worship. But for me, I feel like it's not just singing that's worship. I think that as believers, our whole lives should be a form of worship. Whether you're serving on the worship team or whether you're serving in the coffee house or whatever you do, I feel like it should be all for the glory of God, and I think that's worship as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Worship has got me through, if we're talking, singing and worship, congregational. It's gotten me through so many bad times. When, many times when, things are bad, that was the time I couldn't do anything else, but all I could do was worship. And got me through. Like literally, you know, we lost some. We had some real bad pregnancies. Went through a lot with that, and probably wouldn't have got out of bed if it wasn't for just needing to go to church and be at worship, and got me through that. It is literally what gets me out of, you know, those crises. Obviously, I'm praising Him in the good times too, but that's
So this again, unscripted question. What are some of the songs that got you through? I'm asking both of you, by the way, because I'm sure you've experienced something similar.
Oh gosh, of course.
Yeah, there's so many. Where the churches I was a part of, we were big. We did a lot of Hillsong songs. Yeah. So Oceans was one of them at the time that got me through the loss of twins. There was there's so many. Give me a second. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead, Tatum.
Well, one song in particular, which I used to sing it a lot when I would go sing like out at churches just for specials. It was called Praise His Name. I think it was by Jeff and Sherry Easter. They're like Southern gospel. And that song, as soon as I heard it, I loved it. And I sang it a lot. It's one of the songs on the CD as well that I recorded. But it's just talking about praising His name, and you know, when you have a broken heart, when you know you lose someone or something, it was just a good song.
Well, so let's dig in on this whole theme just a little bit. So, you know, you're in a valley. Why is it that music is the thing that? Because I've experienced it too. Okay, I mean, we went through a really difficult time with one of our kids not a few years ago, and there's just certain songs that, and I'm telling you, they weren't necessarily. I mean, maybe a few of them were popular, but several of them were not big popular songs. They're just songs I came across, and they got deep into me, you know. And so there's this one song. I forget, Indiana Bible College. It's a Pentecostal Bible college, but they release music, I think, almost yearly at this point. And they released an album. It has to be about 5 years old now, 5 or 6 maybe. But one of the songs on that album was called "Never Lost." And it is just, I mean, I don't cry a lot, but I almost had to pull my vehicle over because it just hit me straight in the heart in a really particularly difficult day. And I listened to that song probably 1,000 times over the next 6 months, you know. And it's not one of those songs that we like picked up here at church. I mean, I think I thought about doing it, but it's just not like it doesn't fit us, you know.
Personally. Well,
and has a big choir behind it, and I'm kind of like, if we can't make it sound like that, I don't know if I want to do it, you know. So, but what is it about music in particular that helps us go like chart a course through darkness?
Oh goodness.
This is all your opinion. It doesn't have to be like a textbook answer. Just for you, yeah.
For me, it's just that's home. That's my comfort. It's comfort food for me. That's you know, music in general is a comfort thing for me. So that's why it resonates with me, and that's why it works for me. I think it works for a lot of people.
I could agree. I can't really explain it, you know. It's just it's just embedded in us, just like a gift from the Lord. I don't know what it is. It's just part of us.
It's like a hug. Like it's like the Lord, you know, like he's met us in those places so many times that I'm craving that so bad that I know, you know.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily a musician answer. I mean, people find those songs all the time of all different kinds of people, you know. It just seems to, I don't know. Again, I can only speak for myself. It hits deep for me, and I'm not really. I don't consider myself like an uber musical person. And what I mean by that is like, and I don't mean like skill or playing instruments. I just don't listen to music all the time. I do listen to music, but I don't think I listen to music as much as people think I listen to music. And so like I'm constantly getting texts. I expect texts from the praise team, like, hey, have you heard this song? But I'm getting them from more than just the praise team, and it ebbs and flows. Like, it's not constant, but there's times when I'm getting texts from people in the congregation that I'm not even sure who texted me, this is a great song,
Yeah.
And so I know it's bigger than us, but it in terms of being affected by music, and I think of course, kind of some of the go-to places in the Old Testament was when David played for Saul, and the wicked spirit would have to flee when he did that. And I see no reason biblically why that's still not the case. So let me ask you this question: What are your hopes then for our church when we gather every day, every Sunday, every Wednesday, even when we gather to worship? What are your hopes for us?
I'm just hoping people dig deeper, because myself included, like that I just dig deeper. And if I dig deeper, I'm hoping that, everybody's digging deeper.
So what do you mean by that?
Praising him more. And somewhat expressive with that. Because I feel like it's a surrender. I feel like when we surrender that, we're opening ourselves up to what he can do through us. I don't think so. I know that. I've witnessed that in my own life. I've experienced it in others' lives. So I'm hoping that it's never about us. It's never about the music, but it is about people seeking him and finding him deeper.
Yeah. Tatum?
Well, that's good. You took my answer.
I'm sorry.
You don't get to play that card.
I'm kidding. No, one of my favorite things when I'm on stage, is when I hear the congregation singing. Like, that is one of my favorite things.
Do you hear that, church? We love it when we hear you sing.
Yes, and it's such a beautiful noise. It really is. I enjoy that so much. I love it when I see people worshiping, when they just, they don't care about anything at that moment, but just praising the Lord because he's worth it. Like, no matter what's going on in their lives or my lives, just like you said, surrender. Just give him your all, like in that moment.
Yeah, it's easy to get. I'm glad you brought that thing about hearing the congregation, because I think I gotta be careful how I say this, because I enjoy all aspects of this, but to say one's better than the other is kind of I don't know. Some days I don't feel this. Some days I might feel differently. Okay, but a lot of days, hearing them sing back at us, for me, is better than seeing 30 people raising their hands. And I appreciate both. Yeah, but I mean, that volume coming back is really, that tells me that there's energy behind it. I mean, whatever that is, there's just intention behind it, and people raise their hands. I mean, I would hate it if nobody raised their hands. Right? That also would, get under my skin. It does get under my skin. Okay, I have to admit this publicly. It gets under my skin when I see less participation from the congregation, and I am not like looking for, chaos or anything like that. Just signs of life. Yes. Signs of life. Are we awake? Are we alive?
Yes.
But and I'm always hesitant to say things from the pulpit or whatever. I'm not preaching, but from the platform, because I don't want to manipulate people into like responding. I would rather it just be organic and they're just doing it because they love Jesus, and I'm not the one telling them to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get up there and say, "Hey, everybody, clap your hands." Okay, I don't do that because if Jesus isn't enough for you to clap your hands, then I don't need to be your reason. The whole. I don't know if I've said this in some of the other interviews, but the whole like surrender. Who said it first? Did you say that first?
She did, yeah.
Yeah, that's important. And I remember hearing growing up in the church, not necessarily in the churches that I attended because they were very conservative, but I would attend other people's churches sometimes, and I would hear the guy up front say, what if what God wants for you is just on the other side of you praising Him,
Yeah.
things like that. And I didn't know what that meant at that time. I know what it means now, having endured some things in life, and the blessing, the whatever you want to call it, is often on the other side of opening your mouth.
Yes.
and singing to
Sometimes
Him.
we don't feel like it, and sometimes we just have to. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of times you don't, and I'm so glad when I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how many times did we choose not to, and perhaps if we had.
Would we receive that?
Yeah, I mean, would our sorrow have been shorter?
Yes.
We can't answer that,
Correct.
but I try to keep that in mind always. Like if I'm not in the, especially since I'm the worship pastor. If I don't feel it, I'm going to try to find it.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So, how would you then? And we're, by the way, ladies, this is record time.
Oh, hey.
Good.
But we're not done yet, so we'll see. How would you encourage anyone in our congregation who has a desire to serve as a worship leader? Because I've said this, and I know Miss Sue doesn't necessarily agree with my terminology, but I look at all of you guys as worship leaders. I mean, you're up there, you're leading, period. So I don't have a problem assigning that title to you at all. No hesitations. So how would you encourage other people who might have some interest in that? What do they need to do? How do they need to find their passion with it?
Oh man.
I think it should probably already be a passion, maybe.
Okay.
Or why would you want to do it if it's not, a passion that the Lord has given you, or a call that He's placed on your life? And that's something that I think you would definitely have to work that out with the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, so first work that out with Him, make sure that that's what God's called you to do, and then be bold and step forward and, say this is a call that I feel led to.
Yeah, I may have not said that just right. I think I'm assuming that there is a passion present.
Yeah,
How do we
of
get to
course.
that place of where you're using it, you're pursuing it, getting to use your skill, your gift?
Well, I mean,
I'm struggling with that one. I'm not sure.
like
How did it come around for you guys? I mean, how did you get into worship ministry?
I mean, I just always sang. My dad would be like, "Hey, Tatum and
Yeah.
Chelsea and Sheena, get up here, sing a song." Like,
and
we
then
kind of didn't have a choice at that point.
But there had to be a moment where it became your choice.
Yeah.
Like no one was telling you to get up here.
I was just asked. So like it just so it kind of was kind of organic. The
Yeah.
choir director just said, "Hey, you heard me
sing."
in worship and youth and
Yeah.
bringing you to big church." Okay, so I mean, but I know it's not like that for everyone. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's just always been a part of my life. So
Yeah.
I can't. Some people don't sing until they're older. Like, they don't even know that they can sing until they're like 16. And I'm like, how does that happen? How do you not know? Do you not like sing in the car or
Yeah.
the shower or
story.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
don't.
to me, that's odd. Because I was just raised around
Yeah.
it. Like, as long as I can remember, I just had a passion for it.
I come from I think it's probably safe to say, a non-musical family.
Which is awesome, though, that you have a gift.
Well, I mean, my sisters can sing. They were never too crazy about just pursuing it. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't really crazy about pursuing it, you know. It really wasn't until I moved away, you know, got out of my mom and dad's house, actually moved to Colorado, where when I moved to Colorado, I was introduced to the concept of a praise team. Never seen one, you know, just in my small church, and it wasn't a big church out in Colorado. It was still a small church, like 250 or whatever. I mean, I know that's bigger than the average, but it's not mega. You know, it's not like there's lights and smoke and all this. Not that they would do that if they were mega, but it's just. I grew up with pianos and organs and one guy. Maybe there's a choir, maybe there's not. And if there is, it's usually not very good, you know?
We probably use soundtracks a
Oh,
lot.
for sure.
Yeah, we used soundtracks.
Yeah.
That way you could travel around with your own little mini band.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember those actually, because that's, you know, we did have people do special music,
Yeah.
but when I moved to Colorado, the whole praise band idea was brought into my world, and you know, the first thing I ever did, tambourine. I was tambourine player. Now, I knew at that point that I could sing, because I had started singing in college in an ensemble, but I didn't know any of the music they were doing. You know, it's just like, do you want to play the tambourine? Sure. And it just kind of moved from there. So now then I'm singing a tenor line. And by a few years later, I'm actually doing it. You know, the Lord just opened doors. I wouldn't call it that. He put me in place so that when the opportunity came, it would be given to me. You know. So it was, yeah. What about for here? So if somebody came to you Sunday and said, I would like to serve, what should I do?
I would say, sing me a song. So we know you can sing.
Well, what if it's not singing? I mean, what if it's like they play the didgeridoo or something? I don't know.
The what?
The didgeridoo.
That's awesome.
Well, that's
I would
really
say,
cool.
talk to Shane.
Yes, that's what I would say too.
I mean,
Okay, answer the question without saying go talk to Shane.
Oh gosh.
well, I think that's important that they would
I mean,
talk to
I'm not
you.
saying that it's not, but I mean, how are you going to gauge, you know, whether they might be a fit?
Well, I mean, there's several things, I guess. Like,
I'm sorry, I did not ask anybody else these questions.
Do you know the Lord? I mean, they would have to
Yeah.
serve on a team. They would
Yeah.
have to be, saved, obviously. They would have to
Have some knowledge of music.
yes. They would, if they say they play the guitar, they would have to be able to actually play the guitar.
Perhaps even own one.
Yes,
Correct.
absolutely. I would just encourage them to seek the Lord, like I said before. I don't know. Let me hear you sing. Let me hear you play. And then if I was like, oh, I think that's, if they were sincere and, I would say,
Don't say it.
go
Don't say it.
talk to the worship pastor.
Oh, sorry, that was not on the list. I've actually given you guys more non-list questions than anybody else.
That's okay.
But hey, I hope that was helpful for you guys to get to know Tatum and Nicole a little bit better. We do these interviews, we do these videos, and they're all for your benefit. So let us know if you're enjoying these. Just tell us in person. That'd probably be the best way. You can also like it on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever this gets shared. But it's our pleasure to serve you guys, and we want to continue doing that with our music and with our voices and our instruments. And yeah, we love you. That's why we're doing this. So we will see you next time we gather.